special Saturday edition of LCJ Live. We've got Friday box office results, my predictions for tomorrow's BAFTAs, and more. In front of me, I've got some Pez dispensers of Ant-Man, of course. We're going to talk about Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, because The Marvels has been delayed several months, and Marvel Studios. The 31st MCU movie is leading the way, no surprise, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Yeah, that is your number one movie for, your number one movie, $46 million so far for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, including $17.5 million on Thursday. So $28.5 million technically yesterday. I like to multiply that by 3 to get $85.5 million and add 17.5 in. I'm thinking $103 million for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania for the 3-day, and the 4-day for President's Day weekend could see it going to $115 or $120 million. I'm not surprised at all of how well Ant-Man is doing. I wrote the other day or a week ago, look, this movie needs to make at least $100 million in its opening weekend. We had a few MCU movies, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, that opened under $100 million, but they were the first ones during the pandemic period after the nearly 2-year break from MCU movies. And then, of course, Spider-Man made $260 million in its opening weekend. You look at the 3 from last year, Black Panther did $181 million, Doctor Strange did $187 million, Thor: Love and Thunder did $144 million in its opening weekend, even though Ant-Man has been one of the lowest grossing franchises and some of the lowest grossing MCU movies. First Ant-Man opened to $57 million, made $180. Second Ant-Man made $75 in its opening weekend, totaled $217. Not the gigantic numbers that we're used to seeing, the $300, $400, $500+ million movies of the MCU lately in some of these cases. But I knew this one was going to have to do much better and was going to do much better, because you have Kang the Conqueror, the entrance of Jonathan Majors into the MCU, and the fascination and the curiosity from the diehard Marvel fans to want to see this. It's the third Ant-Man movie. These Marvel movies always usually get better in terms of box office, not necessarily in terms of quality. In the case of this Ant-Man movie, I think it's pretty bad. But in terms of box office, they always get bigger. So 46, 103 I'm looking at, 120 for the 4-day. It's very strong, a strong start for Disney for 2023. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy is on the way. And the Marvels, which was supposed to come out at the end of July, but we hadn't seen much footage of it yet, and I was thinking for a while, is this actually going to come out at the end of July? And now it has been moved to November 10, the same weekend that Black Panther opened to this past year. So Marvel and Disney deciding they want a late in the year player in the Marvels, because that was going to be the last one in the calendar for the year at the end of July, and they want a little holiday season buzz and some big money alongside movies like Dune Part 2, the next Hunger Games movie, the next Trolls movie, which all also come out in November, but Disney wants some action with the Marvels. So because of that, Haunted Mansion with Owen Wilson and Tiffany Haddish has moved up a couple weeks from August 11 to July 28. Still haven't seen a trailer yet for Haunted Mansion, but that is the case now for the Marvels. And the next chapters in the MCU, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will kick off the summer movie season at the beginning of May. But a strong start for Ant-Man, a film I don't like. No, there's nothing special. There's nothing new. There's nothing enjoyable, really, about the experience of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Michelle Pfeiffer may have more screen time than anyone else in the film. It's just boring. It's same old, generic. Yeah, Mike Sargent and I are going to talk about Ant-Man. We're also going to review Marlowe, the new Liam Neeson movie, on the latest Too Fast, Two Films podcast episode, which we are recording later today. You'll get it later this weekend at toofast2films.com. Speaking of Marlowe from Liam Neeson, $540,000 yesterday. It's made $1.3 million so far since it opened on Tuesday. Not a film I love either. No, even though the second half's slightly better than the first, it doesn't have enough spice to it. It doesn't have enough excitement to it. I enjoyed reviewing Marlowe, Sharper, which is on Apple TV Plus, and Ant-Man, back on 99.5 The River with new hosts Kevin and Tracy. It was a lot of fun doing that live yesterday. I'll be back on later this week with some of my thoughts on some more new movies coming out. Let's get to more of your Friday box office. Magic Mike's Last Dance in second with $1.7 million. It's at 14.3. It did win the Valentine's Day box office, which was my prediction. However, many movies did well on Valentine's Day. Like 6 movies did over $1 million, something like that, including Avatar and Puss in Boots and 80 for Brady and Titanic. Knock at the Cabin did well. Even A Man Called Otto did well. So it didn't have the 3 million that Marry Me made last year on Valentine's Day to win. 1.9 million was good enough for Magic Mike to win on Valentine's Day Tuesday, but the movies on Tuesday made more combined than they did last year. So there you go with that. Magic Mike will, not get to 30 million. May not even hit 25. It'll depend on how things go over the next couple weeks. Avatar: The Way of Water, 1.4 million. It's at 652.3. You haven't seen Avatar by now. I mean, you got a couple more weeks before the Oscars. It's going to win probably something, maybe visuals, maybe more. We'll see. But Avatar is at 652. Puss in Boots, another 1.2 million. It's at 162. And today it will pass Sing 2 to become the second highest grossing animated movie of the past 3 years, only behind Minions: The Rise of Gru. So a huge accomplishment for DreamWorks. Also nominated for the Best Animated Feature Academy Award, nominated for an Oscar. So family still going to see Puss in Boots because we still don't have a major. We had Amazing Maurice. We've got this Mummies animated movie coming out Friday in select theaters, but a major animated movie until Super Mario Brothers movie on April 7th. It's so far away when you have so many big live action movies coming out in March. But for families, yeah, Super Mario Brothers, April 7th. Puss in Boots could stay in the top 10 until then, which is amazing. Knock at the Cabin added $1 million. It's at 27.5. 80 for Brady, 990,000. It's just shy of $30 million. At this point, 80 for Brady is not going to reach the $68 million of Book Club, which had legs and legs and legs for weeks back in 2018 for Paramount. It will not reach that for sure. It's only going to make $3 million this weekend. Football season's over. So it's going to do fine for the times, but not as exceptional as even Ticket to Paradise or A Man Called Otto. Man Called Otto added another 400,000. It is just shy of $60 million for a Tom Hanks movie that didn't even score him an Oscar nomination, and people still went to go to see it. And it's a fantastic film. Titanic 3D re-release, another 620,000. It's at 10.7. Not nearly the amount of money that the Avatar re-release, somewhere around 25 to 30 million, that it did last fall. But 10.7 so far for Titanic. Missing 425,000. It's at 28.4. Megan 330,000. It's at 92.4. A film called Of an Age started with 195,000. And Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, added 202,000. It's made a little over $1 million since debuting midweek. I think it was Wednesday night's first night, and it made about 800,000 of that. So it had a really strong start for the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Coming up here, I'll give you my predictions for tomorrow's BAFTA awards. Also want to acknowledge the cancellation of Big Shot, the John Stamos Disney basketball series canceled after 2 seasons. Also, the Mighty Ducks show canceled after 2 seasons. Look, I liked the first half of the first season of Big Shot. It got a little extreme in the second half, but I still went with it. John Stamos was still good. Watched about half of the episodes, picked and chose over the 10. Half the episodes of the season 2 of Big Shot I wanted to watch, including the finale. John Stamos was still all right. The material went way out of bounds, off the wall, a little crazy, far-fetched, unbelievable, whatever term you want. It went too crazy. And I had a slight feeling it might not come back, which is too bad. The writing was good out of the gate for this show. It did not get better. So Big Shot ends after 2 years. Also in theaters right now, go see the Oscar-nominated short films in theaters. We've got documentary, live action, and the animated short films, which I screened again last night. 5 fantastic animated shorts. Go see them on the big screen. The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It. Some very good shorts, talented filmmakers that I interviewed from around the world, and you can see their work on the big screen. So go see the Oscar-nominated animated short films playing at a theater near you. Coming out this week, a couple movies I've seen. Jesus Revolution, starring Kelsey Grammer. I am not allowed to share my thoughts on this movie until midday Wednesday. It opens Wednesday night. But I'm looking forward to telling you what I think of Jesus Revolution. Also, a film called My Happy Ending with Andy McDowell. I have seen it. Comes out Friday in select theaters around the country. I am not allowed to share my thoughts on its studio embargo until Thursday, but I will be able to on Thursday share with you what I think of My Happy Ending. And of course, Cocaine Bear. I have not yet seen Cocaine Bear, but it comes out this week from director Elizabeth Banks. The marketing has been, talk about crazy, and getting people's attention. We will see how Cocaine Bear does. Obviously, it will not. I mean, if Ant-Man even drops 50%, it'll make another 50 million next weekend. Cocaine Bear is not going to open to 50 million. But it will probably be number 2 next weekend. Maybe if it gets to 10 million, I think Universal would be happy with that. Does anything better than that? Along the lines of Violent Night, which started with 13 million in December, I think Universal would be happy with that. So that is Cocaine Bear coming out this week. In select theaters, Luther the Fallen Son, the new Idris Elba Luther movie, which comes out on Netflix on March 10th. But it's in select theaters this Friday. I will be watching it this week. I will be able to share my thoughts later this week, I think, for Luther the Fallen Son. And let's see what else. New television show starting tomorrow night at 10 o'clock called The Company You Keep. It is on ABC. Milo Ventimiglia's follow-up to This Is Us. How about that? Ryan Seacrest and Mark Consuelos live news. I shared some thoughts on that on Twitter at LCJ Reviews. Not surprised that ABC and Disney and Kelly Ripa did not want to go through a co-host search for a third time after all that happened with the past 2 times. Not surprised by that. Next Saturday night is the Annie Awards. And it's going to be a great night. Looking forward to watching it. The 50th annual Annie Awards with the finest achievements in animated films and shorts and commercials and specials and series. And Pete Docter, Pixar's chief creative officer, director of some of the most iconic animated movies ever, 3-time Oscar winner, is being honored with the prestigious Winsor McKay Award. If you want my full, in-depth, new, exclusive interview with Pete Docter, go to lcj.podbean.com. Also got an Animation Scoop Q&A up with the director of Amok, which is nominated as a short film nominated for an Annie Award this year. Next Sunday is the SAG Awards. When we're back here next Sunday, I will give you my thoughts and predictions on that. But let's get to the BAFTAs, which happens tomorrow in England. I wish there was a way to watch it live here in America. I wish BBC America still had it, or somebody still had it, or you could stream it live. It'll be in the afternoon America time over in England. Richard E. Grant, who I met when he was Critics' Choice nominated for Can You Ever Forgive Me, is your host. And I'm going to give you my live predictions right now. I am making these predictions on the spot here now. Your animated feature winner will be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Film not in the English language will be All Quiet on the Western Front, which leads the way with nearly or a record number of nominations. Supporting actress will probably be Angela Bassett. But the thing is, how will the BAFTAs, the British, embrace movies like The Banshees of Inisherin? You know, they loved Martin McDonagh's last film, 3 Billboards, 5 years ago, Picture. They gave it Best Picture, actress for Frances McDormand, supporting actor for Sam Rockwell. Did they even give it director? I'd have to check that. But let me see if I can find that quick. No, they gave director to Guillermo del Toro, but for Shape of Water. But Best Picture did go to 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, because the BAFTA for Best Film and the Oscar for Best Picture has only matched once in the last 8 years, and that was for Nomadland. All the other times, they picked Boyhood, The Revenant, La La Land, 3 Billboards, Roma, 1917, and The Power of the Dog. And all of those movies did not win the Best Picture Oscar. So you have to say to yourself, look at this. Once out of the last 8 years, they only matched. What is the movie they're going to pick tomorrow? And is it going to continue this wacky streak of not matching with the Academy Awards? If they pick a movie like All Quiet on the Western Front to win Best Film, I really don't think it's going to win the Academy Award at this point. If they pick Elvis, yeah, I don't think that's winning the Oscar for Best Picture. Tar, I don't see that winning either. I see it winning other things, but I don't see that winning the Oscar for Best Picture. Everything Everywhere All at Once, your Critics' Choice winner. Could it also win the Oscar? Yeah. They could give it to, the BAFTA could give it to that. Or the Banshees of Inisherin. And if it wins at the BAFTAs, it has a little momentum going into the Oscars. But if you look at that streak, maybe it's not going to win the Oscar for Best Picture. So it could go for supporting actress to Carrie Condon. For Banshees, it depends on how much they love this movie. And we just don't know. But it could be Angela Bassett, and at this point I'm going to go with Angela Bassett for supporting actress. The upset will be Carrie Condon. Supporting actor. At this point, I guess Ki Kwan wins, but the upset in here is maybe Barry Keoghan, but Brendan Gleeson. Probably Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, but one of those two. Yeah, but I'll say Ki Kwan, but don't be surprised if it's Brendan Gleeson up on that stage. Actress in a leading role. You have a few women in here who are not nominated for the Oscar, like Emma Thompson, Danielle Deadwyler, and Viola Davis. The three that are Cate Blanchett, Ana de Armas, and Michelle Yeoh. If they go with Blanchett, they keep the momentum going with her. They go to Michelle Yeoh for this, that changes the dynamic a little bit. At this point, I say Cate Blanchett wins, but don't be surprised if it's Michelle Yeoh. Actor in a leading role is the toughest category. I may save that till last. We'll go to director. I think because Martin McDonagh did not win director last time for Three Billboards, they gave it to Guillermo del Toro. Maybe this time they give it to Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin. That's what I'm feeling. There could be some split votes here for Everything Everywhere and Tar and All Quiet on the Western Front unless they really embrace that movie. I'm going to go with Martin McDonagh. And Spielberg, by the way, not here. Fableman's hardly on the ballot. Yeah. Best film? Maybe that's where they give it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Maybe. Or Banshees. Banshees is the safe pick, so maybe I'll go with that. Everything Everywhere is the upset here, unless they really love All Quiet on the Western Front. Actor in a leading role is tough. Daryl McCormack's not going to win for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. Paul Mescal is not going to win this for After Sun. You are down to 4 people. Austin Butler for Elvis. Elvis is in Best Film. Colin Farrell for Banshees. Brendan Fraser for The Whale, and Bill Nighy for Living. I really think Bill Nighy can win this, but Living's not in Best Film. That hurts its chances. They have the chance to give it to Colin Farrell, so they may just go ahead and give it to Colin Farrell. I think votes could split. I think we could see a surprise. I will not be shocked if Bill Nighy wins for his amazing performance in Living. Brendan Fraser could. Austin Butler could. My gut says Colin Farrell will win. Does he win the Oscar? I don't at this point necessarily think so, or the SAG next week. But I'm going to say that they are going to love Banshees. They're going to give it film. They're going to give it director. They're going to give it to Colin Farrell, Cate Blanchett, Brendan Gleeson as well, and Angela Bassett. Though maybe Ki Kwan. Yeah, that's tough. I think Ki Kwan wins supporting actor. Yeah. So we're gonna lock in Banshees, Martin McDonagh, Colin Farrell, Cate Blanchett, Ki Kwan, and Angela Bassett. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio for animated, All Quiet on the Western Front for film not in the English language. There you go. Those are my official predictions for the BAFTAs for tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow afternoon as the results and the news starts rolling in on social media how I do and how things go with the BAFTAs. All right. Thank you for joining me today on this special Saturday edition of LCJ Live. As always, go to Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, and the website is lights-camera-jackson.com. We'll be back next Sunday with some results off of the Annie Awards from the night before and my predictions for the SAG Awards, which will be that evening. My reviews of Jesus Revolution, My Happy Ending, and more coming later this week. And again, if you want my thoughts on Ant-Man, 995theriver.iheart.com. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. Appreciate it. Happy Saturday. Have a good President's Day weekend. If you've got families with kids off of school this week, enjoy it. Go see some movies. If the weather's nice, enjoy being outside. And I'll see you next Sunday for LCJ Live. Bye-bye.